The story of Jeffrey Epstein is often told as a scandal about a wealthy predator with powerful friends. But from a survivor-centric, feminist lens, it is something more structural and more disturbing. It's an example of how patriarchy, elite protection, and institutional cowardice converge to shield abuse. This is not only about one man, it is about a power machine, a network of privilege, gender hierarchy, and social capital that enabled exploitation to flourish in plain sight. At the heart of the case lies a familiar pattern: powerful men operating in systems built by and for other powerful men. Epstein cultivated proximity to politicians, royalty, academics, and billionaires. From a feminist perspective, this reflects patriarchal bonding. Elite male networks protecting one another, status serving as moral insulation, and women and girls treated as disposable within power exchanges. The public conversation often focuses on the sensational elements, but survivor-centric analysis shifts attention to mechanisms. Recruitment of economically vulnerable girls, use of female intermediaries, normalization of escalating abuse, and monetary coercion. This wasn't chaotic predation. It was organized. From an anti-patriarchal lens, what stands out is how economic inequality intersects with gender hierarchy. Many victims came from precarious backgrounds. The promise of opportunity, money, or mentorship functioned as leverage. Patriarchy thrives where young women's economic vulnerability is high, male wealth is socially revered, and consent is distorted by a power imbalance. It enables and entitles men to harm women. At the core of this large-scale sexual exploitation is not simply desire or deviance. It is the dehumanization of women and girls. Patriarchy does not merely privilege men. It trains institutions and cultures to treat women, especially young, economically vulnerable women, as instruments. Instruments of pleasure, instruments of status display, instruments of exchange. But ethically, the feminist question is different. What does continued proximity to a convicted sex offender communicate about how seriously we take harm against girls? Some of the prominent figures publicly linked to Epstein socially or professionally have included Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew, among others. Jeffrey Epstein pleaded guilty in 2008 to state charges involving solicitation of a minor. That conviction was public. And yet, reports indicate that various powerful individuals continued to associate with him after that plea deal. In elite environments, reputation is currency. If maintaining access to a wealthy, connected financier outweighed reputational risk, that suggests something profound. Sexual exploitation of minors did not render him socially untouchable. Wealth and access diluted moral outrage. Patriarchal loyalty networks overrode solidarity with victims. In anti-patriarchal analysis, this is a form of status buffering, when a man's social capital protects him from the social consequences that would normally follow sexual misconduct. The Epstein case is not an anomaly. It is a mirror. It reflects how patriarchy shields status, how elite masculinity evades accountability, how institutions hesitate to confront power, how vulnerable girls are positioned as expendable. A survivor-centric analysis insists that justice is not simply punishment after exposure. It is dismantling the conditions that allowed abuse to scale. If we only ask how one man operated, we miss the deeper question. Why was the system so ready to accommodate him? That is where real accountability begins.